So government is considering banning backyard chickens. So I thought I'd take you down here and check out the chickens again. There's a lot of stuff in this video that's I want to talk about, and it's all chicken related and freedoms being taken away, and just the typical government stuff. As you know, we got the all females now. We don't have a rooster. Our rooster broke his foot, so we had to butcher him. So I told you in a previous video that we were wanting to get leghorns, but there's none for sale. People have been sending me advertisements and different things saying, hey, you can go here and get leghorns, but they won't sell them until about July. And I explained all this before, that the reason leghorns are in short supply is because of the bird flu. Farmers are having to replenish their stock. We also had a chicken coop in Connecticut that burned down. There was 100,000 leghorns burned up in that. So right now we don't have a rooster. We're trying to figure out how to get one. Someone suggested that I rent a rooster. That's a bad idea also. The reason is because you want to keep new birds isolated from your flock for a few weeks. All kinds of diseases can come up, and most specifically Marek's disease, which is very deadly to your chickens, especially leghorns. Leghorns are very susceptible to Marek's disease. Now, of course, if you are into this conspiracy of bird flu, you could introduce the bird flu into your flock also. I talked about, instead of getting leghorns, we'll probably get Rhode Island Reds or New Hampshires. They're almost as good as leghorns. Other people told me other breeds. We've looked into everything. Anything that has a high rate of egg production seems to be in limited stock right now. Actually, I had a few comments from people telling me that they had some issues trying to get birds also, and I want to read a couple of these. One of them was, our Rural King just said that their chicken order got canceled because they don't know if and when they'll get any more. Someone replied to that and said, my Rural King had some chicks, but they were unsexed. Tractor Supply didn't have any chicks and won't get any until the end of the month. So it seems to be that there's a chicken shortage widespread throughout the United States, which I suspected. Now, we've talked about the egg shortages and the bird flu and the chicken shortages, and it's all related. Then we ran into this scenario where there is a theory. A lot of people put a lot of research into this theory, so if they were scientists, I would say it's no longer a theory, it's been proven, that Tractor Supply is getting chicken food from their suppliers that may not have enough protein in it. A lot of backyard farmers aren't getting any eggs. Now, there was this theory that the reason they're not getting any eggs is because it's wintertime and your egg production shuts down during the wintertime because the chickens go through a molt in the fall. That means they're replacing their feathers, so they're using all the protein to replace their feathers. Well, a lot of people have figured out that that's not the problem, that when they changed out their food, things got better. So I have a comment here. This person says, I was not getting any eggs from October till last week. I've been feeding my chickens feed from the store. And then she remembered what I said about sunflower seeds, black sunflower seeds. Now, as you know, Carolyn and I, well, Carolyn, I should say, sprouts sunflower seeds. She takes the seeds, puts them in a jar. I've showed you this before, so you can go back 2 or 3 days probably and find it. And she'll put it in a jar and it sprouts up. Sunflower seed has like 16 or 19%, maybe it's even 20, I don't remember. It's high in protein. So she got some sunflower seeds, and within a few days, she started getting eggs. She also put oyster shells in there. Now, you can use egg shells. Carolyn cracks up her own egg shells and feeds it back to them. That gives them the calcium they need. So she was getting about 2 eggs a day, and then for about 3 days, and then started getting about 4 eggs a day for 4 days. And then over the weekend, got 14 eggs. Just a little bit more confirmation that there is a protein problem in chicken food. I was showing you my incubator a while back. Somebody asked me what kind of incubator we got, and I showed it, and it's Nurture Right 360. You can get them off Amazon or the Orschelns. They're about 100, well, anywhere from 140 to 170 bucks. I just got an email, someone just ordered one. That's pretty exciting. And they're easy to use. I'm not a salesman, I'm not trying to sell it, I'm just saying it's easy to use. You turn it on, put the eggs in it, and leave it alone. Just follow the instructions. Well, this person said, hey Rob, I have to say you're definitely right about the incubators because I've seen a lot of them go out. Works for Amazon in the warehouse. Just this weekend, I know I packed at least 20 of them for shipping to people. So that's very interesting. Now, I wonder sometimes, does my videos, I mean, I don't have a huge reach in my audience, but sometimes I wonder if my videos actually pick up pace at Amazon when I advertise something like that. I know I used to advertise a small mom and pop organization. They sold garden seeds and just different things, and I would mention them in a video and they pick up in sales. But regardless, people are worried about the egg situation. Now, I mentioned in a video that a lot of backyard chicken farmers, like myself, have decided to increase their flock. So that's where the biggest shortage of chickens is coming from. And there's a pretty sound reasoning to this. You already have the setup. You already know how to raise chickens. You already know how to get the food. So why not do more? Because if you do more, then you can start selling eggs. And with egg prices being so high and the shortages and all that, you can really sell eggs for a fairly good profit. Chicken food prices aren't that high right now. I mean, they're up $1 or so from last year. Since we started raising these guys, I would say the feed prices have went up about $1 a year. So it goes up, but it's not overwhelming. And then of course, Carolyn feeds the chickens homemade foods and different things. I showed you the other day where she ground up bones, chicken bones, and fed it back to them. This is kind of controversial, and I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but one of the things that I think is happening is someone has reported a study, I don't know, I can't find the study, that egg yolks does one of two things. I'm not sure which because I've heard both. One, it can neutralize the virus that we all just had, recently, the pandemic stuff. The other thing I've been hearing is it neutralizes the thing you had to get for the pandemic. A lot of people are concerned about the thing because now they're realizing that the thing is making people pretty ill. A lot of people have died from it. So they're concerned, so they're buying up eggs and chickens. So if you think about it, if you're concerned about these things, you're going to take actions to increase your egg yolk intake. Now, I have some suspicions on this study because if 90 or 95% of the population got the virus, then are you telling me that 90 to 95% of the people don't eat eggs in the United States? I mean, I eat eggs, and admittedly, I didn't get sick, so maybe there's something to this. I don't know, but I just figured more people would eat eggs. Who knows? But Carolyn and I are carnivores, so that's all we eat is eggs and meat. Somebody said, you're going to be malnutritious. Well, we've been doing it for over a year, and I've never been healthier, so maybe all these generations of people eating vegetables might have not been the greatest idea. There's a whole history lesson I could give on vegetables, but that's beside the point. Now, a while back, I reported that a chicken coop in Connecticut burnt down 100,000 chickens. And there are a lot of theories out there that the elites, let's call them the elites. I mean, we could say it's government, we could say a lot of things, but the elites, and they call themselves the elites, so I don't feel bad about calling them the elites. They don't want us eating meat. They want us to eat bugs, vegetables, and lab-grown meat. That's actually a thing now. They started selling it here, apparently. I mean, I haven't seen any evidence of this, but apparently they started selling this in the United States, lab-grown meat, in December. The FDA and the USDA has already approved this. Now, when I say lab-grown meat, I don't mean like Beyond Burgers or Beyond Meat. They actually took a sample from a chicken or from a cow, and they grow it in a petri dish. So they just kind of grow it into a chicken nugget, I guess. I don't know, but it doesn't sound too healthy to me because they haven't done any other studies on this meat other than does it have listeria and E. coli, that kind of stuff. So in order to do that, they had to figure out a way for us to stop eating meat. Well, that's easy. We'll just raise prices of meat so high people can't afford it. Okay, that makes sense. I understand that. But then people do this and they go out and start buying chickens for their own production. And chickens are really easy to raise. They're not hard to raise at all. I mean, some people, you drive around here, let their flocks just free range, no big deal. Of course, I'm concerned with free ranging, primarily because we have eagles, bald eagles. They're beautiful. And I will never want anybody to get rid of them. I think they're just absolutely fantastic. But they'll swoop down and pick up one of these chickens with no problem. So we keep ours covered, but they're so easy to raise, and you give them a little bit of room. You don't pin them up in a little cage, and they're happy. I mean, our chickens are really happy. They're always excited to see me, and they like to get petted. They love their treat. You know, I bring down at 10 o'clock every morning. 10 o'clock, I bring down their mixture, cornbread, you know, all that stuff I've showed you that Carolyn makes. The sunflower seeds, and they're just happy to see me. There's one in here. She gets right up there and she starts to get outside of the cage, and I got to push her back in. I figure if you can raise a dog and a cat, you can raise chickens. This just isn't hard. They put themselves to bed every night. All I do is come down here, give them some food, close up the coop, and I try to keep them from getting attacked by predators. I've not always been successful. I'm getting better at it all the time. Primarily, the biggest killer of any farm animal is dogs. I got this article from Shadow 54 or 54 Shadow. Him and I seem to be becoming pretty close friends. He sends this article and it says that New Zealand just had a fire, big chicken coop fire, killed a bunch of birds. I think it was 74,000 birds in New Zealand. New Zealand already had an egg shortage. And the reason they had an egg shortage is because they just outlawed battery chickens, is what they called it. Battery chickens is when you put chickens in a cage. I understand that a lot of people object to this. But when you change the law to give more room, more space to chickens, it's just a matter of time before production goes down. If you had a coop that had 100,000 chickens and then all of a sudden you had to reduce that amount of chickens down to 50,000 or 25,000, you're gonna get less eggs. So you're gonna get less eggs in the market. It's not like the farmer can just go out and build a new coop or go out and buy more property, give the animals more space. So they had a shortage. Well, now they're in real trouble, just like we are here in the United States. I told you a while back that there's been a huge spike in fires in food production plants and chicken coops. And of course, there's speculation as to why. It actually made evening time news the other day, a while back, about all these fires. In New Zealand, the SPCA said, we don't want people going out to buy backyard chickens because we're fearful that people who are raising chickens will mistreat the chickens or will harm the chickens or not treat them correctly. Well, I got to researching this a little bit, and there's actually a lot of governments that are trying to ban backyard chickens, which is odd because they're so easy to raise. It tells me that the elitists are the ones that are trying to keep people from buying chickens. It just makes sense. They don't want us eating meat or eggs. If that is true about the virus and the egg yolks and all that, it makes sense that they don't want you doing that. I mean, think about that. You're the CEO of a big pharmaceutical company. You've just invented a vaccine for the most contagious thing, ever known to man. And then a study comes out and says you don't really need to get the thing, all you gotta do is eat egg yolks. Well, that's just gonna dip into the pockets of the elites or the pharmaceutical companies. So that's just not gonna happen. They're gonna do whatever they can to keep you from buying chickens. So I would suggest getting yourself an incubator, getting yourself some chickens right away, whatever you can get, because there is a shortage. So if you'll click this up next box to take you a video where I was talking about all those chicken, I hope I can inspire you to become self-sufficient so you can eat your own eggs. So you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.